Mornings on K-Fog. Arthur, you don't have to shut up, buddy. You're allowed to talk over there.
Can I stop blushing, though?
No, we have in Beth Stelling, and she's doing the Punchline. She's got 2 shows tonight and 2 shows tomorrow night. You can buy tickets at punchlinecomedyclub.com. Beth, we both watched the stand-up special that you have up right now.
Thank you for watching that.
Stand-ups on Netflix. Now, do you get a couple cents for each view? How does that work? You do, right?
Yeah, and for Arthur's, I actually got not even a full cent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just for mine specifically?
Yeah, they told me the numbers. They never released numbers, but for your guys' views, they did.
Yeah.
This is very upsetting for me. Why are they
I don't know. It's like, are they
that
calling
closely?
you half a man? Like, why wouldn't they give you the full penny?
They wouldn't be the first person to call me that, okay?
Oh, you're a good man. You're full man.
Oh, my God. Thank you.
And he just met you.
Arthur was telling me you are a head writer on Crashing. Is that right?
So my specific title, I started as staff writer season 1, and then season 2, executive story editor.
And Judd Apatow is like the guy on that,
Yes,
right? The executive producer.
Yes,
So
he
how
pops in.
do you get linked with him?
So he started, his special just came out on Netflix as well. And I forget when. Mine came out in July with the stand-ups. His came out in the fall maybe, but his is an hour.
Yeah, I watched his.
Yeah. And
yours
so,
is funnier.
My mom thinks that too. So he started getting back on the LA scene because we both live in LA. And basically he'd sort of like bump me on all the shows.
No.
He'd sort of pop up and I'd be like, oh, well, looks like I'm going to be late to my next show because Judd popped in. One time he did come up to me. I don't know if he remembers this. I haven't brought it up because I'd like to work again.
Uh-huh.
But he was like, he came to the Comedy Store. I was supposed to go up next. I had to get to UCB next after my Comedy Store set. And he comes in to do his. And I walked up to him because he's going to bump me. And I go, hey, so like, how much time are you going to do? And he just was like, like, I don't know, 10? And I was like, okay, cool. I just have a show at UCB to get to.
Yeah.
And
Don't run the line.
I know. It's kind of, it's just funny that I felt the need to do that. And how dumb am I? But I still got hired. I think he liked my chutzpah. And he basically, because we just started being on the scene again. And so he saw my stand-up. And we didn't totally like get to know each other then, but we were, in each other's orbit as he was trying to throw himself back into stand-up. So that was, over 2 years ago. And then I had done the Pete Holmes show as a guest stand-up. I guess that would have been 2014 or something.
Mm-hmm.
So Pete knew me as well. And then when they collaborated and were thinking of who they'd like in the writer's room, they wanted comics because the show's about stand-up comedy. And so my name got thrown in.
Cool.
And I got a call from my managers. I was like, hey, Judd Apatow wants to know if you want to write for the show Crashing. And I was like, is this real?
Wow.
And then I had to say, am I going to get paid every week?
And they ask me because they want me to do it for free?
Yeah. No, they laughed. They were like, yeah, you get paid every week. Because stand-up is such a piecemeal existence, know.
Right.
Thankfully, that's why we all, or most of us, work so hard because you're just like, well, I have to survive. And you say yes to everything for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And then you find yourself in some man's living room doing a show for him and his friends. And you're like, how did I get here? And why aren't I getting paid?
That's one of the, by the way, we're talking to Beth Stelling. She's going to be at Punchline this weekend. 2 shows tonight, 2 shows tomorrow. That's one of the things that I love about Crashing because it kind of gives people a peek behind the curtain about how terrible the life of a stand-up can be, from losing your relationships to dive bar shows that nobody's at to performing in a living room.
Yeah.
So what were some of the worst, because now you're like doing theaters and Punchline and stuff like that, but what were some of the worst experiences that you had as you were coming up?
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, I remember doing a biker bar in Joliet, Illinois, and just really not appealing to any of those men.
Did they look at you? I mean, did they even like turn around? And
Yeah, they
watch
were all
you?
kind of sitting there. There's some pool tables in between us. I think I remember, like, I've grown more probably into my own voice, but back then I was even more sort of dry, dark, and quiet.
Uh-huh.
And so, I'm in a bar and I'm like,
Right.
here is a clever punchline. And they're just like,
They're like, spit water!
They're burping over my punchlines. Yeah, so that was bad. I remember too, like, I'm trying to think of some of the most hellish bombs I've had. Usually you sort of try to block them out.
Right.
You know? Early on, I did I think it was like AKA a sorority, all black alumni sorority luncheon. And I was probably 22 and I was like pushing 200 pounds. And so I had a lot of like self-deprecating jokes about me being curvy.
Right.
And you better believe that's definitely not what they wanted to hear. You know what I mean? They came up to me afterwards and they were like, you need to get your together because they're like, you're beautiful. Stop talking like this. And I'm like,
sure.
Yeah, I hear it from my mom. My mom would always be like, I mean, if you want to keep doing this, that's fine, but you just be nice to yourself. And that's not an option, Mom.
Yeah, not as a comment.
You said your mom is a school teacher.
Yes.
And by the voice, she sounds like a school teacher.
Yeah, she's a pianist, very good at that. She sings. But she recently retired. In my special, I mentioned that. Yeah, she taught for 34 years. I took her to Kauai to celebrate, like her, because we never took vacations growing up because all that, teacher money. And this was very cool to get to go together. I think it'll be like a lasting memory. But I was trying to teach her how to Google voice. You know, when you can Google something, you press it and it just feels good because you can see it going like this. Yeah. So I pressed Google Voice and I'm like, she wanted to go to the Kauai craft fair because what else would you do on a tropical island besides go to a craft fair? So anyway, I pressed Google and I'm like, okay, say it. And I hold it up to her voice and she goes, hello? I'm like, we just went over. You're supposed to say Kauai Craft Fair. And then she goes, well, I don't even know Siri that well. I'm like, okay.
Moms are the best.
Taken. Yeah, she rules.
She is adorable. And we both watched the special, the Netflix special, like we were talking earlier. And I'm curious, like, how has things changed for you since it went up there? What are your thoughts on Monique wanting, more than $500,000? Like, what's the inside scoop on the Netflix stuff now?
Yeah, I mean, I love that Monique kind of went, what would you call it, atomic on that? Like just sort of like really blasted it out there. Yeah. Because sometimes it's you got to talk about what you're getting paid. It's like if I'm doing the same club as one of my counterparts that's a man, I do sometimes like to investigate. If I'm getting paid less or
has that happened? Where if you feel like they're on your level,
absolutely,
and they're getting more,
and then obviously, but that is also something that is hard to judge. Just like kind of Schumer made her comment, which is like, yeah, I know I'm not Chris Rock and I'm not Chappelle, but I deserve more. Yeah, and I think Monique's saying that too. Totally. But it's absolutely happened to me. It's just hard. I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but it's hard to compare because what is a career and what's like whose level are you at? And in stand-up typically it can feel like high school. You come up with your class, so you're a freshman, and then like when I was a sophomore, Kanane was a senior, and I would open for him when he came back to Chicago. So you have like these people who are above you, but with Netflix, it's just, there's nothing like it. The reach is incredible. It's changed people. Yeah. It's changed people's stand-up careers for Ali Wong. Ali and I were new faces together in 2011 in Montreal.
Weird.
Yeah, and she was long overdue for even that, for being a new face. Right. I came from Chicago in 2011. She had already been already killing it. So for her special to be what she is and so good at what she does, and then all it took was that, getting enough eyes on it. So the amount of people that are watching it is unrivaled.
It's like the place to go because there's only a limited amount of people that have cable TV that are watching Comedy Central, but Netflix is so big right now. It's like the move.
And they're just blowing all the other options out of the water. I mean, even monetarily, in comparison to doing a special with, Comedy Central, they're making sure you get locked in and you don't want to leave. Right. I remember, because they overspend quite a bit and Netflix does. So when I got my check, I was like, let's see if this works. And then I put it in my bank. I'm like, is this real? Yeah. So I think
it cleared.
Yeah. And plus it's like a half hour versus what really a Comedy Central half hour is 21 minutes. It's a commercial.
Yeah.
So you really get your time and eyes on it, and it helps. All you want as a stand-up is for people to come out and kind of have a familiarity with you. Yep. Because obviously you get to do less work. Yeah, so you don't have to work as hard because people kind of get your vibe or they know your style.
Totally. So we went way over on time. Oh, gosh. But before we let you go, I want to know, do you have any movies in the works or anything coming up that we should talk about?
Two things. There will be a podcast that my mom and I are coming out with.
Ooh. Cool.
It'll be on Earwolf's Premium, and then it'll go.
Are you going to talk about your IUD with your mom and having
it
ripped out? Okay, so you're totally open
I'll show
with
you
her.
The picture.
So, but for reals though, when it came out, did it hurt nearly as much as when it went in?
No. Okay. I would just take a big Tylenol.
And you don't have children, right?
I don't. And so that actually will be easier for... Do you have children?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't. And that's why they were like, oh, this is no big deal. You've had kids, right? Because I was old when I got it. Because I was 35. And I was like, no, I don't have kids. And they're like, oh. Yeah. And then it was I thought I
Very
was going to
hurtful.
pass out.
Very hurtful.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one long, deep cramp.
They just looked at me and
Wow.
they're like, "Oh, you have kids," and I was like, "No, I don't. What does that mean?"
When I went to go get my first one last 5 years, went to go get my second one. Okay. So she goes to pull out the first one. Ow. She puts in the new one. Ow. Says that didn't quite go in right. Rips it out and has to put in a third.
Ouch.
And I was like, I was like, is an option never having sex again? Because I think I would do that at this point. Because this
So when
is
it come out, is it like a tenth of the pain when it comes
it is-
out?
I'm not kidding you. I was expecting the worst, and it didn't hurt. Truly. So I would
Okay.
take a big little, a bigger painkiller or something like that. Not anything serious. We don't want you to get addicted. But yeah, and then it's fine. It's come right. And then if you go when you're menstruating, if possible.
Oh, okay.
Although it entirely stops if you have the
Listen,
marina.
if you're listening to K-Fog and you didn't even realize that we were going to give you
Hashtag
tips
menstruation.
this morning, there you go. There's a great tip for you. Beth Stelling, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Get your tickets to her shows at Punchline at punchlinecomedyclub.com.
And nobody can get upset about periods. Everybody's prayed for it.
Everybody's had one.
Yeah.
Yeah.